Hey guys, how's it going? Firebox here. I want to share with you what I believe is one of the strongest builds in Dungeonborne that does not require sets to work. I'm going to go over my specific stats. I've been getting asked a lot in my videos what kind of stats I'm looking for on gear, and I am going to go over and give you as much in-depth analysis as I can think of to help you learn how to build your Death Knight. Let's go and get started. Just to get the beginning out of the way, I am going to be running Soul Shroud and Grasp of the Grave. The reason I'm using Soul Shroud instead of Soulstorm is that I have found that using the Thunder Flask into the Longsword Heavy, and then using Soul Shroud, swapping into the dual swords, just creates tremendous amounts of pressure and damage onto your opponent, which most people cannot deal with. So it's a really strong combo, and the double damage that this does compared to Soulstorm really puts pressure on the other player. Because of the buffs that DK has received, the additional movement speed debuff, it is a really big deal. People really can't run away from you. So it's an absolutely brutal combination, and we are of course going to be going for Strength for Grim Harvest to generate souls quicker, Dexterity to reduce movement speed of other players, and Stamina to grant us a shield for 200 for 8 seconds after we use our Soul Shroud. Now, as far as the stats go, there's going to be a few key stats that I'm going to be looking for this build. You can probably already guess what some of those are, but in case you don't, let's go ahead and go over them. For swords, you're going to be wanting to grab something with lifesteal and additional damage. The basis of this build is going to be life on hit / lifesteal. I don't think you can get life on hit on swords, so this is the best thing I could find. The additional fire / elemental damage on weapons is really good for swords as well, because you're attacking so fast that the damage just ramps up extremely. Think of it this way: if your damage is 130 and you add 10 damage total from elemental effects, you're increasing your damage by, I don't know, 8 to 9%. That is a huge increase. I'm also going to be rocking the legendary sword for this build, which gives us additional lifesteal. I will say this build does not require the legendary sword. I have used this build before and it did work without it, but if you can somehow manage to snag this sword, your build is just going to be so much better. But don't worry, again, this will work 100% even if you do not have this sword, as long as you follow the rest of the build guide. For a secondary, I'm going to be running the longsword because of the synergy with the Thunderclap Flask into the heavy. I'm telling you, Thunderclap Flask, Heavy Longsword, Soul Shroud, swap into Dual Dagger, and just left-click your heart's content. It is so freaking strong. We do have additional damage on our weapon and critical strike chance, which are both fantastic stats. If you want to, you can also craft an heirloom longsword that I will very quickly show you here. This is what I was using before I upgraded my weapon. For the sword, you're going to be wanting to grab max damage on kill, plus life on hit, and movement speed. These three stats are probably the best for your secondary weapon. You'll do a little bit less damage because it's a crafted sword, but that's fine because the stats are so strong. While we're here, I might as well go ahead and mention that I am using other heirloom gear. I'm using the boots that come with dexterity, max damage on kill, and movement speed. And for our necklace, I will be running strength, life on hit, and weapon damage. Pretty simple stuff. Move speed, damage, and lifesteal seems to be the name of the game right now. For our helmet, I'm going to be rocking dexterity, life on hit, and all elemental resistance. The all elemental resistance stat is amazing because every single stat resistance-wise gets increased, which is so freaking strong. The only thing better might be physical resistance because there's a lot of physical going on right now. Just the general melee combat, but I gotta tell you, the extra elemental resistance really makes it feel like there's a big difference when you're fighting classes such as Cryo, maybe Pyromancer, and things of that nature. For the chest piece, we're rocking Strength, Life on Hit, and plus Life. Life on Hit is definitely the name of the game, and if you can find any additional life total for your build, that is fantastic. My build is a little bit squishy right now, only at 1162. I've easily seen people upwards of 1500 life, but I wasn't able to find gear quite that good, so this is definitely a little bit worse than it could be, but I've been able to seemingly make it work even with this total life pool. For my pants, I do have stamina, life on hit, and plus life again. For my gloves, I have stamina and 2 added damage, cold damage and fire damage. I'm telling you, added damage is so freaking good for your swords. Then I'm rocking the stamina ring with life on hit. The other stats are pretty bad for me, but life on hit is so good that I figured I might as well use it. And the other ring is going to be added lightning damage, life, and strength, which are all great stats. I would love more life on hit, but all of these are great, and plus life is definitely really strong. Now, this is the first time that I'm making a build that is recommending specific stats on gear. Keep in mind that when you go to trade, you cannot search for specific stats unless you go to the auction house. So the way that you have to grab stats, and the way I do it personally, is I buy gear in bulk, look for stats that are good enough to use, and then I sell everything that I don't want. It is going to cost you some money, 25% gold in fact, because you do lose money when you sell. But if you want good gear and you want to make decent builds, it gets even more expensive with set bonuses, keep that in mind. But yeah, if you want to build good kits, that is kind of the way you have to do it. I will say, it's not as bad as it sounds. It's a little bit annoying having to buy and sell gear constantly. But if you're not looking for hyper bis and you're looking for just generally strong gear, I want to say this kit maybe took me 5 minutes to make. It really wasn't that bad. And I think that's everything I wanted to share. If you do want to see gameplay like this video live, feel free to check out my Twitch in the link below in the description of this video. I am also going to be giving away the new weapon skins during stream. So if you do want some codes to try to get these unlocked, these are brand new, just released. The sword, the crossbow, the dagger, and the staff. Feel free to check me out, and hopefully I can give you a code there. Thank you for watching this build guide. Let me show you some more of the PvP. Let's go ahead and get started. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to like the video. It really helps the channel. Subscribe for future content and comment below what your thoughts are of this build and the stats that I'm going for. Feel free to leave me any suggestions or comments below. I do want to thank Pressure and Trash Daddy for supporting this video alongside my other members. Thank you all. Have a great day.